Hey everybody, welcome back to Brainiac Baseball's 1984 Detroit Tigers season replay. We have just completed the month of April, and so we're going to take a moment here and look at the standings through the month of April, as well as the league leaders so far. It's kind of strange to me to already be through the month of April. I know it's May 5th in real life time, and yet, to complete a whole month of the season already is kind of shocking to me. We are still continuing to play the 1969 Seattle Pilots what-if scenario. We are on the home stretch. We're in the playoffs, actually. I never intended to double up on my seasons. I don't really enjoy doing that because I feel like neither one gets the proper attention. And this is my third video today, and the more videos I do in a day, the less I feel like I have to offer in those videos. And so I'm going to try to be thorough, but on the same hand, I kind of want to just get through this and take a look at the leaders and where we stand. We did finish the month of April with a winning record, and that's not really something to be proud of. This is the 1984 Tigers. This is the whole reason for me playing this series since 1980, and we're disappointing out of the gate. The real Tigers went 35-5 to start the season, and I mean we are barely a 500 team, and that's a real bummer. We did have a fun game earlier today that we won 1-0, and so that is a nice way to end the month of April as we head into May. We've got two more games against the Mariners, and then a long stretch here versus the Orioles and the Indians. And then we have a couple series, in the middle of the month here with the Twins, Red Sox, and Yankees. Let's take a look at the standings real quick. I don't think there's a lot that we can learn here. They always say you can't win the World Series in April, but you sure as hell can lose it. And it looks like Cleveland and Toronto, Texas, Minnesota are probably already out of it. They are teams that are going to be bottom tier. And so we can expect that they might start doing trade offers. We had one trade so far this year, in the month of April, and it wasn't a big thing, to get excited about. So we're not going to recap that. But this is the time where the game will start making those decisions. Is Cleveland a contender? And if they're not, will they start selling off their parts? If we look at the National League, you'll see Montreal is toast. Pittsburgh has already been part of the first trade of the year with Oakland, where they traded their first baseman to the A's. San Francisco hasn't won 10 games yet either, so they very well could be a team that'll start selling off parts if they can. We did mention in the game earlier, looking at the finances, that Baltimore and Texas are both teams that are in the red and very well could end up there if they don't start doing some wheeling and dealing of their own. The Rangers are already $500,000 in the hole as far as cash goes, so they will not be able to sign free agents at the end of the year. It looks like they're projected to make over $1 million, so I guess in a way they can recoup that money without making any decisions. But what that means, and again I showed this earlier, but if you look at their expenses, for the Rangers, there we go. They are ranked last in everything. They're not spending a single dime on their farm system scouting or their medical. So they're going to start, I would assume, before too long, suffering injuries, and their players will not become developed and useful in the future. So, I mean, that's kind of where we stand as a league. I don't think there's really much more that we can learn in April. So let's go ahead and get right to the league leaders. And we're going to peruse these, relatively quickly. We're looking at batting average here. What I love to see right now is the way that things got started for the Yankees and for Boston, that there aren't there aren't any hitters batting 400. A lot of the averages are coming down as they should. Our only player in the top 25 is Greg Brock, the Brock Nest monster. But if you look at a lot of these, I mean, there's no way Ozzie Smith is going to lead the league in batting average, right? I mean, that's just not going to happen. So, we'll see here before too long. A lot of these averages will get down into the 320s. I will bet you that by the end of May, we might have one person above 320 in the American League. So there's your batting average. I don't know. We're just going to scoot through these. In at-bats, Kirk Gibson is among the leaders. He's our leadoff guy. He's not doing so well right now. We're going to do all the offensive categories real quick. Doubles, Tom Herr of Baltimore has 14. That is a good start. And oddly, we do not have any Tigers on that list. And I feel like we're doing really well in that category. A lot of doubles, I think. Grounding into double plays. Yeah, George Brett, who's been a disappointment, and Terry Kennedy, whatever. Jim Wilson of the Indians has 9. Interesting. Okay, extra base hits. Kevin Mitchell has 18 total. He must have a lot of home runs. Glenn Wilson has 10, so he's in the top 25. Yeah, I mean, we are not an offensive team as of yet. I guess I kind of am curious what's going on with fielding. My large adult son has been bad. Ray Smith of Baltimore is the worst. Every catcher has made an error except for Ron Hassey and Don Slaught of the Royals with cheese. First base, Greg Brock made 1 error. You see there the leaders. We're just moving along here. At second base, it's Kurt Siebert of the Twins. Lou Whitaker has made a couple errors already. Third base, George Brett's the worst. Hey, look at that. He's at 900, though. Give him that much at least. He's bouncing back. He's made 7 errors in the first month while making 7 errors the entire time we had him on our team last year once we had traded for him. I think it was about 70 games. Chris Pitaro of Oakland is right there. Same as Springer. So, yeah, there aren't a lot of good defensive third basemen in baseball in 1984, at least so far. Shortstops, hey, Trammell tied for the lead. That's good to see. He's certainly showing good range. Keith Smith of Cleveland is the worst, if you're curious. Left field, Gibby. Wow, Gibson is number 2. Not too shabby for a average to below average defender in real life. So that's good. Chet Lemon in center field. I don't know. He's made an error, I guess. Not that bad. And then right field we have Glenn Wilson. He's definitely our best defensive outfielder, and he's among the 7 that have yet to make an error. Moving along, games played. Ken Smith has played in 26 games. 28 is for the leader so far. Hits. Marty Barrett, 44 hits. Greg Brock in the top 10. And that's because he's hitting lefties. If he keeps hitting lefties, I'll keep running him out there. Let's see. Hit by pitch. Joe DeSaw, who I think just got injured, right? Or no, he got sent to the minors. Oh, because Oakland traded for that Pittsburgh first baseman. I believe it's Craig Kasich is his name. He is now their first baseman. Chet Lemon's been hit a couple times. Of course, he did that a lot in real life. Home runs. Holy hell. Kevin Mitchell has 15 home runs. Oh, my God. That is crazy for 1 month. What is the most home runs hit in April in real life? I'm sure I used to know that at some point, but 15 home runs. He's got a double, 2 triples, and 15 homers. 36 RBI in 25 games. He must be leading in RBI, a 1,200 OPS. That is impressive. And then Leon Roberts and Jim Traber both have 7. So, yeah, a lot of odd names there. I think that'll get settled eventually. I would not be surprised if Kevin Mitchell, despite having 15 home runs in the month of April, if he only hits like 30 or 32 total. So while that's an alarming amount, I don't think I'm going to get too worked up over him hitting 60 or 70. That's just never going to happen. What else of interest? Intentional walks. Wade Boggs has 3 intentional walks. And 3 Tigers have a walk. Let's see. On base percentage. Willie Randolph at 448. Not bad for a guy who doesn't really walk much. Greg Brock does walk a lot. He's in the top 25. Outfield assists. Do we have anyone? Yeah, Gibby's got one, and Lemon's got one. So Chris Bourgeois of the White Sox? Yes, has 4. Interesting. Okay, moving along. Things of interest. OPS, of course. Yeah, Kevin Mitchell, 200 points better than Gus Polidor for the California Angels. 92 at-bats, 7 doubles, 4 triples, 3 home runs, a 600 slugging percentage. Yeah, he's off to a good start. As a rookie, of course, because, of course, Greg Brock, 884. Plate appearances, not really concerned. RBI. Yeah, Kevin Mitchell's got 36. Steve Kemp, last year's MVP, has 30. Wade Boggs, 29. There's Willie Randolph. Ozzie Smith with 24 RBI. Come on. Same to be said for Marty Barrett. Alvin Davis, that makes sense. Danny Tartable. Tommy Herr had 100 RBI once in his career. So, there are plenty of players there that make sense, and then, half of them do not. What about catchers? Runners thrown out. Mike Stanley for Cleveland is thrown out 10. Terry Kennedy 5. Lance Parrish 2. What's the thrown out percentage? Wow. They must have made bigger bases back then, because Joe Skinner's leading for the White Sox with 38 and a third. 38.1, I should say. Caught stealing percentage. Runs leaders. Steve Kemp and Chico Walker with 26 runs scored. Ken Smith and Kirk Gibson on the list. Sacrifice hits. Dougie Baker has 2. And 1 for Whitaker, 1 for Trammell. Otherwise, not a lot there. What about sac flies? Don Slaught, Royals catcher, has 7. Wade Boggs and Ken Smith have 5. Chet Lemon's got 2. Are you curious who the top salaries are of our sim? John Fulgham of the Mets signed a $2.6 million contract. He's in the National League. And then we have Teddy Higuera, who's injured but deserves it. Bob Welch for the Dodgers. Steve Rogers for the Yankees. Ricky Henderson for the Mets. Dennis Martinez. So there's the top 10. Yeah, there's no one on our team. I try not to pay. I'd rather trade someone than pay them, especially controlling the Tigers. I know that they are not considered a small market team in real life, but in this game, they kind of are. Slugging percentage. Keith Mitchell just slugging the hell out of the ball. Unbelievable. Okay, let's take a look at stolen bases. Willie Wilson of the Royals has 14. Mike Felder, 12. Lachelle Tarver of Boston with 10. And then Gibby, Rolando Rooms of the California Angels, and Chico Walker have 10. Otis Nixon, he's injured, out for a long time. Harold Reynolds will be there. Kevin Romberg will be there. We've seen them steal a bunch. Yeah, that's about it. Okay, interesting. And strikeouts. Who's striking out the most? Oh, no way! Ken Smith is leading in strikeouts? I don't feel like that's true. He struck out 28 times in 26 games. Well, that is a problem with our offense right there. A guy that we're heavily counting on is striking out a lot. We might need to lower him in the lineup. Wow. I mean, that's why we do this. I would not have known that he was leading in strikeouts. That's shocking. Total bases. Yeah, Kevin Mitchell. That makes sense. There's George Brett at the bottom of the list. Doesn't feel like he's playing well, but he's accumulating total bases. Triples. Gus Polidor. He's got 4. Brett's got 2. Walks. Carl Pagel. He's always there. And Ken Smith walks a lot too. Carl Pagel's walked 29 times in 28 games. Okay. And, all right. So that's it for offense. Let's take a look at the pitcher stats, and then we'll just wrap this up. Complete games, Al Lakowitz for the Rangers has 3. Tom Klowitter has 2 complete games. That son of a bitch, Frank Tanana's got 2. Stefan Weaver's going to be done for a while. Anyway, Blyleven and Morris both have 1. ERA, let's take a look at the ERA. Al Nipper, 2.04 for Boston. Dennis Martinez, free agent signing for the Oakland A's. And then Brian Kelly. Look at that. We got 4 starting pitchers in the top 25 for ERA. So we have a team ERA of 3.57. Pretty solid. Okay, what else we got here? Games pitched. Yeah, that makes sense. Look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All 7 of our relievers are in the top 25. Well, there's going to be some changes. I'm going to tell you about that. That's what I'll wrap up with when we get there. The changes that I'm going to do for May. Let's see, grounded place induced. Yeah, who's getting the most grounding into double plays? Larry McCall of Cleveland. I bet you he's leading in home runs given up too. We'll find out. Who's hitting the most batters? Brian Allard, Floyd Bannister, Doug Corbett, a reliever. Okay. Home runs allowed. Here we go. Oh, it's Howard Bailey with 9. Where's that guy at? For the Indians. Is he not on the list? Wow. Oh, yeah, there he is. I'm sorry, number 2. Or no, he's tied for first. How did I miss that? I guess Howard Bailey threw me off of Kansas City. He's given up 9. Larry McCall, he gave up 52 home runs and 58 home runs. So I think we can rest assured that he's going to lead or be right there as long as he doesn't get injured. Okay, moving along, innings pitched. Petrie's got 38.1. Some of these other teams are on 4-man rotations, I believe, so we just can't compete in that category. Innings per game, Blyleven 7.2, Jack Morris 7. All right, moving along. I don't care about any of that stuff. Quality starts. Blyleven has 4, Petrie has 4, Brian Kelly has 3. Britt Burns leading. Actually, there's 8 pitchers that have 5, and none of them you would probably want on your team. Maybe Richard Dotson in this era, and Britt Burns. They were both okay pitchers. We don't care about that. Saves. Here we go. Bruce Sutter of the Baltimore Orioles has 7. Carlos Diaz of the Mariners has 6. And so does Dave Smith. Eckersley there, Brian Harvey, Al Holland. Hey, even Roger Weaver for Toronto's got 5. And he's got a reasonable ERA, so good for him. I'm glad that he's pitching well for Toronto. You see some decent closer names in there. Shutouts. Clowitter and that son of a bitch, Frank Tanana. They each have 2. Bert and Jack's got 1. Starts. Oh, well, I really want to see like who's on. Oh no, I guess everyone's got 6. So, all right. So maybe there aren't any teams that are on a 4-man rotation. Strikeouts pitched. Mark Langston has 39 for Seattle. I think we'll see him in this series we're playing. Jack Morris has 30. Bert Blyleven has 24. Dan Petrie just had a 10 strikeout game today. Kind of amazing. Strikeout percentage. That's for batters. Okay, wins, and we'll wrap it up. Keith Creel of Kansas City is 5-1 and pitching pretty well. Mike Warren of Oakland's got 5, and you'll see the rest here. Dan Petrie's got 3 with that win today. And that'll do it for the American League. So we'll just look at the main 4 here in the National League. Gene Richards of the Padres is batting .373. Billy Hatcher of the Cubs has 9 home runs. So does Pat Tabler. He's got 7. Cal Daniels with 6. Oh, the wind must be blowing out in April for the Cubs at Wrigley Field. Kirby Puckett, Eric Davis. Runs batted in. You got a couple Cubbies there. Pat Tabler leading with 23. And then Eric the Red, who is actually a Giant. Eric the Giant has 15. And Albert Hall's got 12. Dunston. There's Ricky Henderson. How's Ricky Henderson doing? He is batting .228. Yeah, Ricky Henderson is not Ricky Henderson in this game. He is not the real deal. We could never get him to work for us. We really tried. He couldn't steal. He couldn't get hits. Couldn't get extra base hits. All right. Okay, let me just take a moment here to look at our team, and I will tell you what I'm thinking here for May, and then we'll totally wrap it up. I haven't set the lineup yet for tomorrow's ball game, but I think we're going to stick with Kevin Bass for just a little while longer. He is slowly coming around, but nipping at his heels is Jesse Barfield. He would be a huge addition to our team defensively. His ratings aren't great, but they are better than Kevin Bass's, and there is a world where Jesse Barfield could take Chet Lemon's spot. So we're looking at that possibility there. Additionally, my large adult son, Lance Parrish, is absolutely horrible. We've seen it happen. He started both games against Seattle this series, and he has been really horrible. We can't cut him, because we'd have to eat it. He's making $460,000 through the end of this year. If we cut ties, we got to eat it, and we don't have that much cash that we can waste. What would it cost? We can find out if we were to release him. Oh, no, hang on. Less than $200,000. So that is not horrible, but that's half the money that we have. On the other hand, we would save money the rest of the way, and maybe we would earn more gate receipts. But we do have to get rid of Parrish, so that might be that's hard for me to do because I'm a huge Lance Parrish fan. I'm sure you know that by now. Then we call up Marty Party, and he'll be our backup catcher, and Bobby Ramos will be the next in line. We've got a couple of double-A catchers here too, and then we've got Mike McFarland, Chris Hoyles in single A. We got a lot of catchers for the future. And then for our pitchers, now that excuse me, now we're in May, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to move Dave Rosema to long relief, and we're going to call up Danny Jackson for a month of starts. And we cannot send Dave Rosema down because he's under major league contract, but we can try to slow down his innings pitched because we know that at the end of the year he tends to run out of gas. And he hasn't really pitched all that great so far, but he is an important cog to our rotation. So Danny Jackson, who is a left-hander, will come up, and he'll take over the fifth spot. Gumpert will go back to the minors, and Danny Jackson will get the fifth spot in the lineup. Okay, so that's the plan for the month of May. We're going to wrap it up here. I do appreciate everyone taking the time to watch, like, and or subscribe to the channel, and we will come back tomorrow with the first game of May, which will bring us Floyd Yeomans of the Mariners versus Jack Morris for the Tigers. So until then, everyone, have a great day.